What up, world? Digimon, what coming in with that BT1 goodness? World Convergence is out, and boy, everyone's on the same playing field. Let me tell you, everyone's cooking. Everyone's got the chef hat on and ready to be really cooking those recipes right there for everyone to enjoy. But in this video, I'm going to give you my first place list that I ran this week at Locals, and it is Armors, baby, because boy, it is so nice to be running one of my favorite decks to pilot, and they managed to get me the sweet dub and got me the foiled version of the Imperial Digimon Paladin Mode Ace, which is always a delight to see. So in this video, I'm going to give you my ratios, tech, and all the source. So if this is the video for you, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel, like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn notification bells, because I do videos on the reg for real, for real. So further ado, let me give you the list, all the sauce, and the spice. What, yes sir. Okay, let's go over that winning list. Starting off with the eggs, we only ran the 4 Demi V. Reason being is because we do want that all turns gain additional 1000 DP if we've got a Digimon with more than 2 colors. This does actually account for our rookies as well, so just knocking them over, like, you know, to 2k is always the value, especially if you crash into a 1k, which would have actually probably killed you, but lucky enough this egg comes in clutch. And that's the only eggs you need right there, because we do manage to play out quite a few Veemons just either from our security or from our hand or off our tamers. So starting off now with the rookies, solid 14, we do run the boy that is back off from retirement. It is going to be the Jamming V BT3. The reason why I run this is because, one, it's the first Veemon that actually I ran in my original armor list, so I wanted to kind of incorporate him in this list. Obviously there's other Veemons that you can run. We do still have the BT16 Veemon, which is also a great replacement, but the reason why I do like this one is because of the jamming. It means that I can actually be really aggressive, especially if I play it out from the promo Davis. And on top of that, if we happen to get this off of armor texture, the opponent has to out it, because it means that we do actually just have a free swing at their security, and way this build actually pops off, we can really combo that up and get maximum value from this Veemon. Rocking on with another solid 3 is going to be the Searcher Veemon from BT12. The reason being is because we've got a lot of cards that actually search in this deck now. The consistency is unreal, but this just helps us obtain one of our armors as well as our Davis, and on top of that also our Veemons there as well. The Inevitable rarely comes up, if ever. Then we go in with the promo V, still rocking at 4. Just the reason being is that Inevitable able to obviously be our form of draw card right here, because when we're swinging with our armors, we're able to just draw, and that is not once per turn. So once we're comboing off, this really comes in hard. And on top of that, it does have the reduction evo cost by 1 if we do have a tamer out. This is only once per turn, unfortunately, compared to the new Veemon that we do get in BT21, which is the absolute goat. This card, if you find this, you're winning, just because the actual reduction is not once per turn. So when you are comboing off with your armor texture or your BT21 Davis, this just really helps with that memory efficiency right there. On top of that, you also gain that 2000 DP as well when you're in your armors, so it means that your armors can really kind of swing over Digimon, or just ensure that we're not necessarily going to armor purge. But to be honest, any case, if we armor purge by crashing into something higher than us, or even self-purging, we still just get absolute massive value from you know, just playing armors now, which is fantastic. So this is the ratio that I ran at the actual tournament, and really worked fantastically, especially with the Jamming V. I'm glad to have it back in the list. Now going over to the armors. So the armors really play a big part in this. Obviously the rush mechanic is for us to be really being aggressive whilst controlling the board. So we do run the promo Flame Digimon at 2. This is just great for controlling and also knocking out the opponent's security by adding it back to the hand once obviously we triggered raid, or if the attack target is switched. Really helpful, especially when you are facing off against Venture. I had a lot of matches where I was facing a Venture that was my second round, and they put the Adventure Island on, which obviously if I did check into that, it means that they can play a tamer for free. When I actually use Flame Digimon here, I just raided and put that card right back into the hand, which was just really good right there. So very good control card. Unfortunately, you know, you do kind of need this instead of the actual BT21 Flame Digimon, which is just absolute ass in my opinion. But yeah, this is a very strong card. Then we run the new Digimon. This Digimon is fantastic, and I'm really tempted to bump this up to 3 instead of 2. But currently, I ran 2 in the list that I ran for the for locals, and just having the suspending a opponent's Digimon is just massive. It means that you can suspend that blocker and just continue with your combos. On top of that, it does have Pierce in there as well, and you do gain an additional 2000 DP to the end of the opponent's turn. So once again, if you are comboing off and you kind of end on a form of Magnamon, it means that your blocker is going to have the additional 2k on top of whatever buffs that they currently, well, that we currently have when we end in our Magnamon, just to kind of, you know, prevent the opponent from doing any form of damage to us. So very powerful card. Definitely tempted to bump this up to 3. Then we run the new Magnamon at 2. The reason being is because it's just great to unsuspend our Digimon. Another Magnamon that can unsuspend when digivolving is always great. Fantastic as well when you are comboing this with your armor Digivolution, just because we're able to minus 2k DP depending on how many armors we have in trash to one of the opponent's Digimon. Really massively helpful, but this is kind of more of our combo extender, especially when we are kind of popping off, you know, armor purging, using armor texture and so forth. It just means that we can always have a way to unsuspend and kind of push that damage, because that's the main thing with having an armor rush variant, is how you can constantly push that damage and keep that aggression on. Then the absolute GOAT is going to be the starter deck Magnamon. We do run that at 4 because this is essentially a security bomb. Also as well, be able to kind of strip the opponent's sources there as well, depending on how many colors they've got. And then we also can digivolve on top of that, and that's just a Digimon. So you can digivolve one of your armors to then evo into this Digimon to then get its way digivolving effect. So very powerful card there. You do want to be running that at 4 for real. And then lastly, we still run the OG, and that's going to be the BT8 Magnamon. Once again, it's just a way to always have always have like an active blocker, as well as gaining some additional buffs depending on how many armors you have in trash. It's definitely a lot easier to get armors in trash now, just because of armor Digivolution. So this, combined with this, it means that you can always safely kind of combo into something and always push that aggression, or essentially just kind of end in turn on this, so you've always got an active blocker with high DPs. But that is there for the armors. So then we don't run any level 5s, people. No level 5s at all. We just go straight into level 6, and it is going to be still the GOAT, and it's going to be the Magnamon X Antibody. In all honesty, guys, this card still needs to be around. You still need to respect the meta. Because armors isn't a deck where it can be ignorant. It's not like, you know, we're just consistently getting our game plan off and the opponent has to adapt to what we're doing. That's not the case at all. It's essentially, you know, we need to make sure that we respect the meta, and this is just a massive middle finger to any form of shenanigans that the opponent's gone off, because effectively you've got to be immune, you've got to be a massive blocker, and it just kind of halts their aggression and buys you a turn. On top of that as well, we do have ways to actually apply the aggression onto this card, because obviously with the when digital effects we can unsuspend, obviously we gain that immunity, but if the turns pass and obviously it comes back to our side and this Digimon's back on, and the opponent's kind of not got anything that's stopping this Digimon from attacking or, you know, triggering, basically going into their security, you can actually throw a fire rocket on this bad boy, and this is then going to be doing 4 checks, pushing that serious aggro, which is always welcome right there. So this is just still needed. I still run this at 3. I think 3 is a perfect amount and really helped out versus some tough matchups because they just couldn't out this Digimon. But this is not the kind of the card that you need to be going into. It's more of a nice, I'm going to pass turn on this, and I'm going to sit chilling, ready to pop off in the next turn. So, on to the options. Options, we run a plethora. And obviously, there's going to be some kind of things that people may not agree with, which is absolutely fine, but I'm going to give you my reasons of why I run these cards. Because with armors, if you don't have a first turn play, you're already behind. Like, you need to be constantly either setting up or just going all gas. So, we do run the 2 Fire Rocket. So Fire Rocket is just a great aggro card right there. Really powerful when you do have it, and because we've got ways to essentially keep up a really good combo with a plethora of our cards now. That's the reason why I'm running 2, not necessarily 3, because I'd rather run 3 of the armor texture. This is just a really powerful card, especially with the new Veemon there as well, just to kind of reduce that evo cost. And on top of that, with armor texture, obviously you can trash the top card of your stack, but then you may digivolve into an armor Digimon, which you don't have to. So this actually works well with our armor digivolution, because effectively you can use this to kind of self-purge if you've not got BT21 Davis up, and then you're able to then evo for free into an armor type Digimon. Granted, you will not get this Digimon can unsuspend, but if you've evoed into a form of Magnamon, then you're going to be cooking because they will be able to unsuspend themselves. So this is the cool kind of potential that you can use with this card right here. On top of that, if it's propped on security, you're able to then play out a Veemon from hand or trash without paying the cost. It's always value. This is what I like, kind of using this and throwing out a jamming V, because realistically they have to out that because once again I've got a free swing and then I can go into a Magnamon and swing some more. So very powerful card here. Now let's go into the consistency card. So we do run the 2 mental trainings. You can bump this to 3 if you want to. Sometimes I feel that when I was playing armor kind of like mid-range, sometimes digging 2 just isn't enough, because we do run a high count of options. So realistically, we need to be able to dig a little bit deeper in order for us to kind of make sure that we can kind of keep our consistency up. And on top of that, don't get me wrong, the triggering delay to reduce the evo cost by 2 into my next and evolve into a blue Digimon is fantastic, but it requires something to be on field. So this is why I do still run blue memory boost, because it's essentially more universal in terms of what I can do with that 2 memory. Granted, if it's not, not got a memory blocker out, because effectively, I'm not fully reliant on my tamers. If this is propped from security, it means I've got 2 memory banked up. 2 memory goes a long way in Armor Rush. So it enables us to, 1, dig deep. So if our first turn we don't happen to have a rookie, and let me tell you, it has happened, at least we can set up beautifully. So then we can go into the kind of the burst potential that this deck has, when you just literally go through a lot of security and the opponent just wasn't prepared for it. On top of that, it's great in order for us to kind of set up our tamers. So if we happen to be at an awkward number, say if they've choked us up at 1 and we do have a blue memory boost out, we can pop this and then we can actually throw down one of our BT21 Davises, so it actually chokes them at 1, and it means that we've magically set up, because our tamers cost quite a lot. And passing over too much memory just means that the opponent can then set up a lot more easier. So I do like blue memory boost. It really helps out a lot. Then lastly, probably the best card in the freaking deck. I kid you not, this goes hard. Armor Digivolution. This is a fantastic consistency booster, as well as a memory manipulator, defensive mechanics in regards to if our armors are trashed. We can effectively use the All-Turns effect to evo into an armor form Digimon without paying the costs. Huge. And obviously on top of that, then we do get our when Digivolving effects. All of our level 4 armors do have when Digivolving effects right there. So this is just a fantastic card. Too strong. And then the security effect is activate main, which is just massive. So you get that search, you fix your hand, and then you put this into your battle area, ready for you to obviously proc this off when you want to. On top of that, you can actually self-purge, and then you can trigger this effect to then evo into an armor for free. So the memory manipulation that you can get with this deck is unreal, and honestly, it's probably the card that's really helped Armor Rush out by a massive stretch. I kid you not, easy to 4 off. You can't go wrong with this card. There's no bad side to this card. The only negative side is that if they don't happen to delete you, this is just kind of a bit of a dead card. But I mean, for the definition of dead, I'll use that very loosely, because it is still, searching our pieces and so forth. It is setting up our trash, because we do reveal the top 3, able to pick a free trait Digimon and a Davis on top of that, and then we trash the rest, which is absolutely fine, because it means that our armors, we may have a few armors out of that reveal, put them in trash. It means that our armors are getting stronger to obviously clap back at the opponent. So huge card right here. Bandai, you are cooking real well with that. Now onto the tamers. So tamers we've only run 5, and I feel like 5 is actually working out really well, because we've got so many cards now. we don't necessarily have to fully rely on our tamers as such to get that aggression off. But when you do have it on, we're just winning even better. So we do run 3 of the New Davis, and New Davis is so nice. I love this alt art, and I think the reason why I love it is because I think this is actually the first version of Davis that is drawn by an artist, not like a still or something. So it's just refreshing to see the partner kind of interaction, Davis and Veemon. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So with this Davis, we do have a start of main. We do able to gain the memory if the opponent's got a Digimon out on field, which is always welcome. And then the main effect is that we can suspend this tamer to trash the top card of one of our armors to then draw one and gain a memory, which is so much value, especially when you do have armor Digivolution set up, because effectively we've just netted a memory and we've got a free evo, which is just fantastic. Once again, very powerful right here. The only downside is that it costs 4 to get out, and sometimes it is a bit tricky to get out without, you know, passing the opponent too much memory for them to kind of pop off. But when you do have this out, you're feeling great. Your combo potential just goes up even further right there. Also, we cannot ignore the fact that it has got red in there, so it means that we can actively just use our Fire Rocket without having a form of armor out on field, meaning that we can actually just use Fire Rocket comfortably on our Magnamon X antibody, which once again goes a long way. Then we do run the 1 promo Davis. So this at the moment, I'm still toying around with the ratios, and I must admit I did like the 1 promo Davis because for some reason I do have the look of the 1-off. It does come up quite nicely. We have ways to search this out quite efficiently, but getting this really early with a jamming V is the absolute gas, because it means that we can literally have 2 mons on field. We've managed to set up a good tamer establishment, which 9 times out of 10 we're always going to be getting that memory, because we're going to be pushing out with a feature Digimon, so we're able to gain that memory, and then we're able to just really go gas, which is always great. It means that we've got 2 memory to play with, and depending on obviously what Veemon we're pushing out with, if we've got the BT21 Veemon, effectively we're going to be going into our armors for reduced cost by 1. So if we go into our like a Flamedramon or our Lightdramon, you know, it's going to be quite memory efficient, and then we can use armor textures to then go into another Digimon, which effectively, if we do go into another Lightdramon or another Flamedramon, it's only going to be costing us in total of that whole combo 2. And we can obviously unsuspend and attack again. So it's just pushing that nice aggro right there. Still toying around with this at the moment, but I do like Promo Davis just for that kind of acceleration play if you do have this early on right there. Also, if it's popped out from security, obviously we get its on play to then play out of Veemon, so almost acts like armor texture security effect right there. And then lastly, we just run the BT3 Davis, so our memory setter, also a nice little consistency booster. We can possibly get 2 cards from this if we do happen to reveal any blue Digimon and also our Lightdramon, because it is obviously part green, which is always great. And just having a memory setter in combination with any of these cards is great. It means that we just got more memory to play with and can extend our plays even further in order for us to kind of combo, do that nice burst damage, which armors is really good for right there. So that concludes for the tamers and the deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comments. So there you have it, guys. Armors baby is back on the table. So what do I think to the new support, the deck, and all that? So I absolutely love the new support. It's definitely what the deck needed to make the overall Armor-Rush archetype or version of armors so much more viable. Like, the consistency is unreal, though granted, I have still been getting hands full of armors, and that's like the whole like fear that I have, because they don't have no on play. So if I'm just there with a whole hand of armors, I might as well just say I've lost that round, because it is hard to unbrick, and that is the reason why I run a plethora of consistency cards, because that's where the strength is. If I can consistently see my pieces and pop off and do my combos, I'm pretty much in a nice kind of like, you know, pacing, so the opponent has to kind of adapt and do something in order to kind of slow that down. I do feel like Magnamon X is still required. It's still required, not so much as your game win condition, more of an alternative route to actually, you know, respect the manner that you're going to be facing with. It is a massive FU button. Like, if you just literally time that right, the opponent can't out it, what they're going to do? What are they going to do? They can't push damage, they can't do anything. The only thing they can do is swing over it, being the thing. But 9 times out of 10, they probably can't do that, depending on how you've left the opponent's field. Obviously, there's a lot of now armors that have like upgraded controls. So when I say a lot of armors, it's going to be more Digimon. Digimon's had a massive upgrade and such a strong armor now. The fact I can just suspend a Digimon before it was level based, suspend the Digimon. Get rid of that. Get rid of that blocker that you had planned out, and continue to go bang, 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 bang. Give it the old freaking Terry Bogard. Are you okay? Hey, you know what I mean? Power guys of that shit. So it's great that we do have a Digimon that is just way more useful in order for us to just continue that aggression or pace or control. It's just great stuff. You know what? The Magnumon, the new Magnumon, that's beating my expectations. At first, I thought that wasn't going to be useful. I thought it was a bit mid, but just being able to unsuspend just makes your combo potential even better. It means that you're not fully reliant on armor texture. It means that you can effectively just, you know, self-purge, go into a Magnumon and unsuspend. And that's what I like about now the new kind of, you know, support that we have, is that you've always got ways to unsuspend. Always got ways to purge. Always got ways to essentially gain massive value depending on what cards you've got set up. You've just got the opponent now guessing and kind of a little bit, you know, they've got to really think of like how they push, because they could just drop us so much value from our security now. It leaves them in a very awkward predicament. I mean, what we've got, armor Digivolution. We've always had, you know, the the ST Magnumon, which is just always a menace of freaking security. Bumping into that Digivolve and then freaking battle. And then if you have a Veemon out on the field, evo into that, guess what, Digivolve effect is absolute filth. We also have armor texture that can play as a Veemon out, which once again, if they happen to push really aggressively, that do 2 checks, you could literally bump into armor texture and then start deck freaking Magnumon, which is just awful. Absolutely can derail a strat completely. It's just good at what we can now do while still being just fundamentally aggressive. The new Tamer is an absolute godsend. The fact that we can obviously self-purge and then get a memory and draw, and then obviously that can interact with our armor Digivolution, which then can evo into an armor form for free, is just massive value. We've netted the memory and we've got another armor out, which could effectively get the benefits of how many armors we have in trash. If we're going into one of our Magnumons, either we're going to be getting a massive DP boost, or we're going to do, you know, minus DP off of one of the opponent's Digimon, which is always the nuts. It's just fantastic. I just absolutely love this deck again. I absolutely love this deck again. And I'm happy that I've kind of built like a nice happy medium of, you know, armor style while still having the big boss monster, which is Magnumon X, which is just great. And kind of not relying so much on the level 7. I mean, granted, you can run the level 7, you know, depending on obviously your meta and your so forth. But I feel like it's not necessarily that needed, just because the amount of damage that you are pushing out with just kind of level 4s is great. Obviously, you're still gonna have those kind of matchups where, you know, because we are level 4 based, they're gonna be able to obviously, you know, bounce us quite easily, and that's where we get shafted. Bounce or Digivolve is awful right there, or anything that's gonna be trashing our level 3s or lower below us, because then we can't essentially armor pitch. So anything like that is gonna be a kick in the nads. But anything deletion based, we are eating. We are so eating now with that new option. I know there's a lot of people that probably want to talk about like, why am I still running blue memory boost, and I feel like I want to kind of cover this because, like, naturally, yeah, mental does work better. Mental is going to mean that you're not going to necessarily bottom deck any tamers and so forth. The reason why I still run blue memory boost, and I think it is purely just trauma. I think it's the trauma of having hands where I've literally had armors and I can't do anything. I always want to have a play where I can at least proactively do something. Even if I don't happen to have a freaking level 3, and I do have a block of armors, if I just have 2 memory boosts in there, at least I can dig 4 and get out of that. If I literally have a ton of armors and mental, digging 2 just isn't deep enough. It just isn't deep enough, and I've wasted a turn. So I just don't want to be in those awkward predicaments where I just can't do a play. Or I do a play and it's not actually fixed anything, and then I'm already behind. Armors needs to be proactively in front in order for us to get that dub and be really fast. That is the whole premise of an armor rush. It's got rush in the name. On top of that, Blue Memory Boost universally can do more for you, because, you know, that 2 memory, you could do whatever you want with it. You could still do the evolution, or digivolution into another armor as what mental training would do, or you can actually just use it to do something else. It might be that you're in an awkward predicament where, oh, actually, I need to get freaking another armor, but I can't actually do the combo here, so I'm gonna then do the delay of the Blue Memory Boost, play armor evolution, digivolution down, search free. Oh, sweet, I've got the armor that I was looking for. Trash the rest, and then I can self-purge off of the armor that I had, effectively gain a memory, draw, and I can use armor digivolution to then evo for free into an armor. It's things like that that you can do with Blue Memory Boost that you can't necessarily do with mental training. It's those kind of niches. And on top of that, it just means that I can obviously, you know, pop a Blue Memory Boost and then play out a tamer. And it means that I'm not passing them for. Like, sometimes passing them for is awful, especially versus hunters. Pass my opponent 4, and I'm there seeing them just pop off. I'm like, pop off, 2 tamers down, go into the freaking purple dragon. I'm like, oh shit, like all this from just that can be awkward. So I do like Blue Memory Boost for that, and I just want to make sure that I've always got plays. I've always got plays. I'm not just like, fuck, great, mulligan twice, and I'm still up shit creek. That's just the worst right there. But hopefully that covered that off right there, because I know a lot of people probably going to ask me that, and hopefully they'll reach this part of the video. But any further questions, guys, definitely drop it in the comments. So you know I'm more than happy to answer them. I hope everyone else is loving the new set that's dropped and got the cards that they've wanted. I know it's quite a bit of a difficult set in regards to getting certain cards, just because, you know, the ratios can be a little bit skewed, especially towards like tamers, especially for the tamers that you don't necessarily want. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments how your polls went and so forth. But guys, if you enjoyed the video, smash it with like standard. Stay safe, stay fly, and I'll catch you next one. That's your boy D Dread, off the mic.